United States says it's concerned after North Korea carried out successful tests of a new long-range cruise missile, which is capable of hitting much of Japan. It's believed to be the country's first such weapon with nuclear capabilities. The missile flew about 1,500 kilometers before hitting targets and falling into the country's territorial waters during tests. The latest tests highlight steady progress in Pyongyang's weapons program amid a gridlock over talks aimed at dismantling the North nuclear and ballistic missile rollout in return for U.S. sanctions relief. The talks have been stalled since 2019.
If it's true that North Korea fired a missile with a range of 1,500 kilometers, it's threatening to the peace and safety of Japan and its surrounding region. We are highly concerned about this. The Japanese government will continue cooperating closely with South Korea and the US, gathering the necessary information, investigating and monitoring North Korea's military activities. We will address any possible threat from the sky and keep strengthening the ability to protect our nation holistically from missiles. There was a question about whether we were notified by the North Korean military about the missile launch, or if there was any message via the military communication line. I will answer the question by saying that, as you know, the South-North military communication hotline is not working. Our military is analysing under close coordination between the South Korean and US intelligence.
U.S. correspondent Eric Ham has been monitoring U.S. reaction and joins me now from Washington. Hello, Eric. The Biden administration is says they're open to talks with North Korea, but things seem to be at a standstill. Is that where we are now?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, since the Biden administration took office, we have seen a quiet effort at diplomacy with North Korea, with the United States sending its envoy to begin at least to try to open discussions, negotiations with North Korea on a bevy of issues. But of course, North Korea has been pushing back and has been speaking in very bellicose language in regards to actions by the United States. And so what we're seeing here is a very different approach, a very different tone and tenor between the United States and North Korea, at least from the previous administration, where we know President Trump engaged in several high-level summits with North Korea's mercurial leader, Kim Jong-un. But even though those summits were widely covered and certainly got a lot of conversation, they never actually materially brought any level of substance. The United States was never able to curtail North Korea's nuclear ambitions. And now what we're seeing from the Biden administration is an effort to at least begin those talks. The question, of course, is will North Korea ever agree to willingly disarm? And right now, based on what we're seeing and what the actions are being displayed by North Korea, particularly with this recent missile test, it seems the answer could be a resounding no.
Wow. So you preempted my next question. As far as this most recent test is concerned, how much are you reading into it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because, again, what we are seeing from the Biden administration is not only an effort. It started out as quiet diplomacy from the Biden administration, but then we have seen even more overt calls from the Biden administration, notably saying that they are willing to engage with North Korea anytime, any place, anywhere. And one of the concerns, or one of the challenges that we're seeing between these two countries being able to engage in talks is the lack of diplomatic ties right now, or at least tense ties between the United States and China. Many see China as a bulwark to be able to perhaps move North Korea. But what we have seen, at least in the last few years, is North Korea, again, continues to dance to its own tune. And what that means for the United States is an increasingly unpredictable nation, an unpredictable effort by North Korea to actually willingly engage in these conversations. We do know that one thing that has not changed is that North Korea wants to see crippling sanctions that the Biden administration makes clear that they are unwilling to remove from North Korea. That is one of the issues that North Korea wants to see before they are even willing to engage in these talks, is that the United States will remove some of these sanctions from North Korea. But right now, it appears that the Biden administration is holding steady because, again, going back to the mid-90s, the United States, along with the United Nations, has always agreed to what many call blackmail diplomacy, giving in to North Korea's demands only to not get anything in return. Well, it appears that President Biden, who was then Senator Biden, seems to have learned his lesson and is unwilling to go as far as North Korea would like.
Our Rise U.S. correspondent Eric Ham. Eric Ham, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on relations between the United States and Pyongyang.